and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Casey Anthony.
Hey, Casey Anthony, I heard you came back to social media. How about you turn those comments on, girly pop? We just want to talk. We just want to talk.
Do some of y'all need a reminder on who Casey Anthony is? What Casey Anthony did? Let me jog your memory. This beautiful baby girl is Caylee Anthony. She was 2 years old, almost 3, in June of 2008. On June 16th, Caylee and her mom, Casey, left the Orlando house where they lived with her parents, George and Cindy. Casey told her mother that she was taking Caylee to a nanny. She called this nanny Zanny. And guess what? Zanny did not exist. The next day after they left, Casey told her mom that her and Caylee and this nanny were going on a work trip to Tampa. 30 days later, 30 days, Casey's car was found abandoned in Orlando. It was towed, and her daddy had to go get it out of the impound. When he got there, both George and the impound guy noted a strong smell of decomposition coming from Casey's trunk. So on July 15th, Cindy, Casey's mom, called 911, saying that she had not seen her granddaughter, Caylee, in 31 days, and that her daughter's car smelled like dead bodies. And Casey, when she had been asked about where Caylee was giving all these random excuses, coming up with all these different whereabouts of Caylee. In other words, she lied through her motherfucking teeth before she finally admitted she had not seen her own daughter for weeks. After she realized that her mom called the cops, Casey called the cops. And she tried to tell them that the nanny had kidnapped Caylee on June 9th, but somehow she never called that in. On July 16th, Casey was arrested. They gave her more than enough chances to tell the truth before she was put in handcuffs. She was still claiming she'd left Caylee with this nanny and that she'd gone to work at Universal Studios. All of this was lies. So the police made Casey take them to her job, and she actually took them there. They all went to Universal Studios where she was claiming to work. And it was only when they got there that Casey admitted that she didn't work there. She hadn't worked there in 3 years, since before her maternity leave. But she was going to stick with that lie all the way. So on October 14th, 2008, Casey was indicted on first-degree murder charges. At this point, Caylee had still not been found. But then, on December 11th, 2008, this baby's skeletal remains were found in a wooded area less than a mile away from the Anthony home. This baby had been hidden in a plastic bag that was inside a canvas laundry bag and stuck behind a rotting log. And Caylee still had duct tape attached to her face and her hair. Please, let that sink in for just a freaking second. The medical examiner found that her cause of death was, quote, homicide by undetermined means. According to the prosecutor, according to the evidence, they believed that Casey had used chloroform to knock her baby out and then duct taped her nose and her mouth. She did this because Casey Anthony did not want to be a mother. She killed her daughter, her baby. But after Caylee was found, Casey tried to switch her story up. She tried to say that Caylee accidentally drowned in the family pool and that her dad had helped her cover it up and hide the body. But when that wasn't really working, because the medical examiner made it very clear that there was no way this was an accidental death, she still had duct tape on her. Casey tried to say that her dad abused her and Caylee, and basically that George did it. But that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard, because searches of Casey's phone and her computer had Google searches for how to make chloroform, how to break a neck. And the investigators noted that Casey never showed remorse. Never. And that through every interview, all she ever talked about was herself. Not her missing daughter at the time, but all the things she wanted to do. How she wanted to be a personal trainer. She had dreams and goals. But here's what has always gotten me, and what clearly some of you have forgotten. While Caylee was missing, while her body was sitting there in the woods by herself in a bag, this was her mother. This is Casey partying her ass off the whole time. Does this look like a woman whose 2-year-old daughter is missing? Yet somehow, and I will never get over this, I remember watching it when it happened and crying. The jury still found her not guilty. Not only did she walk, not only did she get her freedom when she should have got the needle, now y'all want to make her famous? Now y'all want to give this woman a platform? I don't know why I'm surprised, because y'all already did this dumb shit with Gypsy Rose. I guess y'all want to glorify women who kill their mothers and their daughters? Is that what we're doing now? Like, she already didn't murder her baby girl and get away with it. Now y'all want to make her rich? I can't. I'm normally a live and let live type of person. I really don't care what other people do. But in this case, If you are one of Casey Anthony's new 32,000 followers, please see yourself the fuck off my page, okay? I'm gonna need y'all to remember her face every time y'all get curious enough to go listen to Casey Anthony's bullshit.
Listen, everybody and their mama want to talk about Casey Anthony. All right, let's get to talking about it. Come on. I ain't got nothing bad to say about it. Because you know why? We all see him. And who am I to judge? She gonna have to answer for every damn thing she did in God's face one day. We all gonna have to. But let me tell you something. If you really don't want to help somebody win, you don't pay attention to them. Anything that you're trying to, you starve it. Because you know what happens when people talk about Casey Anthony? It creates a domino effect. And y'all know people up here monetizing their content. So it's going to help her monetize hers. Because guess what? The masses of people are going to flock to her page, view her. People are nosy. They're not going to just talk about her one time. People are going to always talk about this woman. And y'all going to help her eat. Now I'm going to keep this under a minute because I ain't trying to do that. But y'all got to understand you're a part of the problem.
So this time a team goes out there and they find the remains. They find the skull. They find, they find a skull, and the skull had duct tape on it. And nearby was a bag which included the rest of the bones. And then a baby blanket with Winnie the Pooh and Piglet on it was in another laundry bag. They knew immediately it was the bones of a child. On December 19th, police, they came forward and announced that the DNA testing confirmed that the remains belonged to Caylee Anthony. So the police, they get a warrant for the Anthony house, and they discover that Caylee's room had been a Winnie the Pooh themed room, which would align with the blanket that they found with her body. In the house, they also discovered a twin bag to the white one that they found at the scene where Caylee's remains were also found. It was a laundry bag, and it was sold only in pairs. And the Anthony household contained just one of the pair to the bag that was found at the scene. These two very specific items made it clear whoever killed Caylee, whoever it was, we just may never know, was not a stranger and would have had access to the family home. Casey now was being charged with first-degree murder. Now, if any of you remember this, because I remember when it was all over the news, you could not avoid this story because it was like, what the heck? Ooh, it was bad. It really took a toll on the family, though. It seemed like, this is an opinion, but based off the facts I presented, it seems like Cindy, she was like ride or die for Casey, and she was not going to let her spend the rest of her life in prison and take responsibility for what she had done. Meanwhile, George, Casey's father, he wasn't taking it so well. He seemed to be the only one in the household with a level head. He knew that Casey was responsible for it. When he would bring it up to his wife, Cindy, she would tell him no. Like, she just didn't want to admit the truth. The media is just ripping apart this family. People were just being very nasty towards their parents. Cindy may have deserved it, but poor George, he really didn't. Anywho, but in January of 2009, George, he wasn't doing well, and he was staying in a hotel, and he was mixing drugs and alcohol, and someone had called the police to do a wellness check, and that's when police found him in a hotel, not doing well. Like, he tried to kill himself. Yeah, I guess that's what he was doing, because he wrote a lengthy suicide note that he seemed to have written like on the hotel piece of paper, you know? And he ended it with, quote, "Caylee, here I come." He seemed to be taking it the hardest. And it's just sad he got to a point where he just wanted to end it because he just couldn't take it anymore. Anyways, but they found him and he was safe, but that happened. May 24th, 2011, the trial begins. George and Cindy would not have normally been allowed in the courtroom because they were witnesses technically, but they were allowed to be present because they were the grandparents. They were allowed to be there if they promised to show no emotion. Now, they were heavily scrutinized because they showed no emotion in court, but many people forgot that they had been asked not to show emotion, and if they did show emotion, they would be asked to leave. I'm losing my voice. Casey obviously completely lied throughout the investigation. There was no nanny and there was no job at Universal Studios. So the question became, how do you live a lie like that? Casey said that when she was 8 years old, her dad began to molest her and she learned to lie at a young age because of it. Now, George took the stand and he said that he did not molest his daughter. Their proof? Caylee didn't go to the gynecologist until she was 7 months pregnant, and that was the first time she had ever been to one. So can you imagine hearing for the first time that your daughter is trying to pin the whole thing on you, making up that you molested them? You're killing your child? Absolutely. I mean, how? Why? But then lying that your father is molesting, I'm like whispering, so I don't know who's listening. Someone might be listening. But the fact that you lie that your father molested you, I don't know how she could sit there and say that. And her father is watching, like, this is new news to me. Gosh, it's just absolutely disgusting. Did I tell you I hate her? Because I really do.
It's hard because 1,000 questions go through my head. I'm responsible for answering everyone in the world's questions about her, about what happened. I still don't know. What happened to Caylee? I know what I'm afraid of. I know what eats at me at night. I know what eats at me day after day. Because I know what I lived through.
I just found out Caylee Anthony has a TikTok and is posting videos on it. The Caylee Anthony. My whole entire Sunday just got ruined.
Hey, gorgeous, how you doing?
I look like hell.
Well, you know, I want to be able to reach out and hug you and give you the big Papa Joe hug. I'm gonna take your pain away from you, so you can tell me anything.
I know that, Dad. I swear, we're not doing well, kids. Someone just said that Caylee was dead this morning. Surprise, surprise.
What mother says, surprise, surprise, about the disappearance of her own daughter? The reaction was so inappropriate that it just was chilling.
I'm okay with myself. I sleep pretty good at night.
I'm okay with myself. I sleep pretty good at night.
How Cindy does not rest. I do not rest. I don't get a restful night's sleep. I know she hasn't for years.
I don't give a about what anybody thinks about me. I don't care about that. I never will.
She's not to blame. In her mind, I bet she pushed everything out of her memory about Caylee. That's why she says, I don't know what happened. She's in an alternate world now.
There we go. There we go. Got his ass.
So back in 2008, Caylee Anthony, who was only 2 years old at the time, went missing for 31 days, and her mother, Caylee Anthony, never reported it. What Caylee Anthony did instead was party, do drugs. She also got a tattoo of Bella Vita, which translates to a beautiful life. So Caylee Anthony claimed a nanny named Zanny had kidnapped her daughter. She even had the nerve to show the cops where exactly Zanny lived, stating the apartment building and the apartment number. They looked through security footage. No one had entered or left that apartment in weeks. This apartment was vacant. She even lied about her employment at Universal Studios. She did work for Universal back in 2006, but this took place in 2008. Claimed she had a cell phone that was still on property that contained important numbers, including the phone number for Zanny. Caylee Anthony just led them on a goose chase, just walking through doors, going down hallways, until she finally turned around and told the officers, I don't work here. Now, when Caylee Anthony's car was found, a car, by the way, that her parents had given her so she could get back and forth from work, she was unemployed. Caylee Anthony's car was found abandoned by a dumpster. She had abandoned it because it ran out of gas. Now, Caylee Anthony's father actually drove that car from the impound lot back to his residence. That vehicle reportedly reeked of human decomposition, or in other words, an unalived body. Caylee Anthony's father was a former police officer, and he himself confirmed that he believed that car also smelled like a decomposed body. When he went to work that afternoon, his wife, Caylee Anthony's mother, cleaned out that car. She got rid of trash bags that she believed was filled with pizza boxes and decomposing food, and also maggots. Now, Caylee Anthony's mother did actually call the police, and she did believe that there was once a body in that boob. Also reported that her granddaughter, Caylee Anthony, was also missing. And this was the first report to officers of the disappearance of Caylee. Forensic testing actually proved that chloroform was found in the trunk along with a strand of Caylee Anthony's hair. In December 2008, Caylee Anthony's remains were found, wrapped up in a Winnie the Pooh blanket, stuffed inside of a plastic bag, with her mouth and nose being covered with duct tape. Despite all the evidence, Casey Anthony was acquitted of murder in 2011. Now she's living her life freely and even posting to TikTok. And that is why we do not like Casey Anthony. And if I ever see her, it's on site.
So the big thing on TikTok now is Casey Anthony, she's on TikTok. Okay, she's on TikTok. Good for her. She was found not guilty. Time served. Give her a follow her, bro. Let's get her a million followers.
This is Caylee Anthony, and in 2008, her life was tragically cut short at the hands of her mother, Casey Anthony. And I use that word mother very, very loosely because she was nothing of the sort. If you don't know the case, pause the video and go look it up. It was extremely tragic. And yes, our justice system did fail this sweet little girl because Casey Anthony should be behind bars, if not already in a pine box. Yet in 2025, she has the audacity to get online and make a video talking about she wants to reintroduce herself. She wants to be a legal advocate. She wants to be a voice for others. Man, with all the disrespect in my heart, go to hell. You took away this sweet baby's voice. Now, I'm not going to pull the video up for you because she deserves no type of attention from anyone. She is a disgusting human being that should be pushing up daisies as we speak. She took away this baby's voice, this baby's future. And now you want to come on here talking about you want to be an advocate for other people? Go to hell. I hope karma is swift and harsh for you. You're a disgrace to anything that could be called a mother. Caylee deserved much better.
Why is it that Casey Anthony comes on TikTok and gains way more followers than me? That's not fair. That's not fair at all. I was 8 years old crying for Caylee. Yes, your daughter that you killed. Let's stop acting like you didn't because you ain't even try to seek justice after that. After the trial, you was like, oop, I got away with it. Like, I don't know. I don't know why you came up on here gaining all these dang followers. And I don't know why folks following you. Lord, I see what you're doing for other people. I really do. I really do, you know. And I pray that you bless me, you know. I don't got to kill nobody. I ain't got to harm nobody to get my blessing. You know that, right? Like, I ain't got to do that, Lord. I don't know if Casey is like one of your favorites for some weird reason. I don't get that. But, because she literally got away with murder and now she gained all these followers on TikTok. Nah, that ain't, nah. Her luck is too dang good and it ain't right to me. It don't sit right with me. I feel like you guys should just follow me because I'm literally just so innocent. I am. Like, I would never hurt nobody unless I'm provoked. But other than that, I definitely won't hurt no kid. Like, bro.
100% innocent, and she knows exactly who is responsible, yet, for some unbeknownst reason, she doesn't tell anybody. Like her lawyers, her investigators, her mitigation specialist. Like, why would you not, if you're 100% innocent, tell the people defending you in your death penalty trial what really happened? Why would you wait till 11 years after the trial and tell it to some producer for Peacock?
Why? Why did you and the other jurors acquit Casey Anthony of murdering her daughter?
There wasn't enough evidence. There wasn't anything strong enough to say exactly. I don't think anyone in America could tell us exactly how she died. If you put even just the 12 jurors in one room with a piece of paper, write down how Caylee died, nobody knows. We'd all be guessing. We have no idea.
So it's cause of death that was a problem?
How can you punish someone for something if you don't know what they did?
The prosecution wasn't able to give you a solid enough picture of how
Do you
Caylee
see that
died.
picture? I have no idea what it, like, they didn't even...
Judge, what do you think happened?
Viewing all of the evidence, I think that she did not intentionally kill her. I think that she had used chloroform in the past to sedate or knock her daughter out so she could be quiet. And I think this time she gave her too much. And what was interesting, even though the FBI agent testified to the level of chloroform and that it was used in cleaning products, no one expanded and asked, is there another purpose that chloroform could be used for? Could it be used to make someone go to sleep, to knock them out? I think she discovered that the child died, and she panicked, and she ended up in the trunk of that car.